How does one choose the right tarot card for themselves? Hi, my name is Akshaya. I'm a nature and animal communicator, which means I can speak to plants, animals, and other species and have two-way conversations with them. I've also been a tarot card reader for the past 12 years, and now I'm integrating both these modalities to help me connect better with nature and animals around me. In this video, I'm going to share with you one of the basic questions that I am asked frequently as to how to choose the right tarot cards for ourselves. Now, if you go online or if you go to a bookstore, you'll find plethora of options available as far as tarot cards are concerned. And they are so very beautiful that you pick one and then you feel like you like something else, and then you pick something else and you feel like you have liked something else, and it can get rather intimidating and very confusing as well. So this video, I'm going to share with you a few things that may help you to choose the right kind of tarot cards for yourself, and to choose and to know how to choose those cards as well. So first and foremost, I want you to know that tarot cards is a very personal practice. Tarot card reading is a very personal practice. So what works for me may not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. The tips that I'm going to share with you are the things that have worked for me and have continually worked for me as well. So if they work for you, great. If not, you're free to follow whatever works for you and whatever your comfort zone is, whatever you are comfortable with. Nobody can set like rules that okay, this is what has to be done, needs to be done, this is what cannot be done, because it is a personal practice and you must allow the energy to flow freely as far as tarot cards, or even for that matter animal communication, is concerned. So please bear that in mind and don't get confused or intimidated by the information that I'm sharing, or by the information that you may find anywhere else on the internet or otherwise. So when you wish to select cards for yourself, first and foremost, if you are a beginner, for personally, I always recommend the Rider-Waite cards for beginners, because they are the original deck. That's where tarot has really evolved from. And if you see, most of the cards that are available in the market are in one way or another based on the Rider-Waite tarot cards. So you'll see very similar interpretations. You'll see they are a deck of 78 cards. You'll usually see that they're divided into minor and major arcanas, further divided into the four suits, which are the wands, the swords, the pentacles, and the cups. You'll find that there are court cards or people cards as well. So the general layout of the deck and even the meanings of the cards, like they are loosely usually based on the meanings of the Rider-Waite card. So for all beginners, I generally recommend that you pick up a Rider-Waite, because that's really the safest bet. And once you are thorough with the Rider-Waite cards, then you pick up any other deck and it will get easy for you to understand those interpretations as well. So for beginners, my recommendation is definitely the Rider-Waite. Learn with the Rider-Waite, and then of course you can explore and experiment with other cards that are freely available. The second tip I have to give is, now that you are probably well versed with the cards and you are good at your tarot card reading, and then you want to add on to your collection, be very mindful and careful, because it can get very addictive, because these cards are so beautiful, and once you create a relationship with your cards, it is a long-term relationship. So you want to pick out more cards, you want to explore more. Sometimes you even may get FOMO, fear of missing out. So each time you see a new deck come up, you might want to invest in it. And to be very honest, they can lean to be on the expensive side. So in the Indian context, at least, you'll usually find all these fancy cards to be anywhere from the range of 1,000 rupees and upwards. So it's not really inexpensive to keep stocking up on cards. And at a time, you'll generally use one or two decks. You won't use all the decks together. For me personally, one deck has been enough. The Rider-Waite has been enough. Yes, I have had my own phase of wanting to keep buying new cards and exploring, but I see myself repeatedly going back to my Rider-Waite, and maybe one or two decks that I prefer, but predominantly the Rider-Waite. So even while you're picking out new tarot decks, I would highly recommend to you that be very mindful of what you're picking out, because it can get addictive and you can tend to hold on cards. So once you are thorough with one deck, no matter how tempting it is, no matter how compelled you feel to invest in another, please think about it, take your time, and only if you're really attracted to the deck, pick it up. And once you've picked up the deck, be thorough with the cards, get to learn more about the cards, and only go on to your next deck. I see a lot of tarot card readers just picking out decks because they are attracted to them, and then they barely use it. It's just stored in the cupboard, and that's not the right use for the card as well. It's like holding on to books and never ever opening your bookshelf to read them. It's not why the cards exist, and you need to develop a personal relationship with your cards. And it's not something that we should keep just holding on, or just keep buying it just because we want to show how many cards we have or how many decks we have. So be grounded, have your intentions very clearly set out as to what you want to do with these cards, and only then go on investing your time, money and energy into it. So for example, I know of a lot of people who are ardent Osho followers, so they are really easily drawn to the Oshos and tarot deck. So if you have something like that, by all means you can invest in it, but don't just do it because you feel like you are missing out on something, or that if you have many decks then your readings will become extraordinarily great, and if you just stick to one deck it won't be as great. Your cards are going to help you irrespective of whether you have 10 decks or one deck. All you need to do is actually create a better relationship with the cards and know them better, rather than having 10 decks and not knowing any one of them well. So these are a few tips that I would like to share for people who are just starting out or are doing this for some time and want to invest in more decks. I felt like making this video because I know a lot of people do feel like they need to keep investing in new cards because they see other people doing it, and they feel that if they don't have many cards, it's going to in some way or the other affect their their tarot card reading skill in a negative way. So don't be worried about that. Nothing of that sort is going to happen. You can stick to just one deck and do excellent with your tarot cards as well. And for those of you who like collecting, are collectors, that's great too. If that's what works for you, that's wonderful. Again, like I always say, it's a personal practice. There's nothing right or wrong, and you can do what your heart desires and what your divine calling is. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and found it helpful.